I wanted to talk a little bit about Chapter 3, about American Indian women. I'll start with reading the poem that's in the beginning of this chapter. I think it really gives a good start to the feeling that the authors want us to have in our bones when we read the chapter. I am the fire of time, the endless pillar that has witnessed death, the support of an invincible nation. I am the stars that have guided lost men. I am the mother of 10,000 dying children. I am the fire of time. I am an Indian woman. And this poem signifies both the suffering and the pride of American Indian women that the authors are hoping that we get out of their chapter. And they go into a lot of history about the policies and practices that first signified the culture of the American Indian way of life, many different tribes, many different traditions, and then the policies and practices of the United States against the Indian tribes and what these resulted in. So on page 53, table 3.2, you can take a look at the chronological order of some of these: the Indian Removal Act, the establishment of reservations, the Reorganization Act, the termination policy of reservations, and then the authors talk about the resurgence of the American Indian movement to take back their culture and claim their rights. I want to call your attention to table 3.1 on page 48. And this gives us a breakdown of the occupations that American Indian women were involved in from 1900 to 1990. And so this is against the backdrop of the historical context that the authors have laid out for us. We can see, based using census data, that there's been a wide change between 1900 and 1990 in what American Indian women do. And this will be very interesting for us as we go through the different groups and we can see how the patterns are similar and different for each of the groups of women. So here we have in table 3.1, in 1900, American Indian women, 47% of them were in agriculture. This decreased over the years, so that by 1990, only 1.1% of American Indian women were in agriculture. And, this is not unusual because we've gone from an agricultural society to an urban society, but many American Indians have stayed on the land. But women have not been able to survive on agriculture as a way to earn their living. So let's look at some of the other categories. Look at, and you can see this in your own book. It's kind of blurry here, but if we look at clerical, that was only 1%, 0.1% in 1900, and it goes to, in 1990, 24.9% for clerical. So I'm trying to find a way to really make this magnify, but I'm not having much luck. So you'll have to look on with me, or I'm going to post the chart itself. At any rate, you can see that if you look at any of these categories of occupations and you go across by year, you'll see either the ascent, as with sales and clerical, or the decline of women's participation in these occupations over time. And of course these have ramifications for the society as well as for the way that society is organized and the wages that people can bring in. Later in the book, there's more discussion of wages themselves and what this means in terms of people's buying power and lifestyle. But right now, it's interesting for us to just look at the changes in occupational distribution over time. Thanks.